Hello everyone, this is Ian, and welcome to Geeks Welcome Talks. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the Honest series, which I've been doing since 2012, originally on Gaming Wildlife and now on Geeks Welcome. I am bringing it not to a close, but on a temporary hiatus. And the problem is that this series has been the main source of our presence online. Originally part of Gaming Wildlife, it was literally started with a video that was originally titled The Electronic Arts PSA, that after a couple of months I renamed to If Electronic Arts Were 100% Honest with Us. From there, we wrote a couple others, one that was Valve, one that was Nintendo, and then, yeah, it started just taking off. It was popular on Funny Junk originally, which is a website that you probably shouldn't check out at this point. It's kind of devolved a bit. But then it made it to the front page of Reddit in January of 2014 and got over 300,000 views in a week. And we were just like, okay, we should do more videos like this. And over time, it ended up being the only thing that Gaming Wildlife was doing. We kind of just pushed aside all the other content we were doing so that we could do more honest videos. And not the best idea, obviously, in hindsight, to do that, because I ended up kind of getting burned out on it amongst a lot of other things. You may have seen another video I did on Geeks Welcome called What Happened to Gaming Wildlife? And I go over pretty much everything that happened between when Gaming Wildlife started to fall apart around late 2015 to me ultimately being fired from the LLC in June of 2018. But during the brief period of time that I was not doing YouTube content, I wanted to come back and do honest videos again. I had written a couple of scripts. I had wanted to dive back in. And the big video that we did on Geeks Welcome was about cryptocurrency and NFTs. It was if cryptocurrency and NFTs were completely honest with us, which completely honest is legally distinct from the 100% honest series because it's named something different. Keep that in mind. But yeah, the reason for me wanting to sort of take a bit of a break on it is not just that I'm burned out on doing this series. Honestly, I could do this series forever. Literally, if all I did was a new episode a couple times a year for the rest of my life, just online or on whatever replaces YouTube or wherever everything goes, if the TikTok ban actually happens. Ultimately, I want to keep doing this series because corporations in the gaming industry and the geek culture industry being absolute bastards and exploiting capitalism for all it's worth is always something that I feel like should be made fun of, and I like making fun of it. Being like, hello, I am CEO of corporation and we're here to mess you all up and screw you over. Yeah, there's tons of jokes to be told there, but it has changed a lot over the years. Like, the Honest series originally, the first video, and the future editor can show you this, was about 3 minutes long, and it was just very short and sweet. Here's all the dumb stuff Electronic Arts had done. This, and that. Electronic Arts, F you. Was basically the original script, but it was one page. It ended up being about 3 minutes long, and it was just very quick paced. But as time went on, I think the last video, official honest video I ended up doing for Gaming Wildlife was the follow-up to Electronic Arts, coincidentally enough, talking about, at the time, the problems with Battlefront 2, the remake, and how they completely screwed that up and got one of the lowest rated comments on Reddit history, which was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. But that video ended up being about 8 minutes long because there was a lot more stuff to talk about. But as time has gone on, I have found that there's just like more and more and more and more that I want to cover. The Honest series was always just like, it's as long as it has to be, or it's as long as I want it to be, like whichever one that is. And so when I came back after the hiatus and started Geeks Welcome, after Gaming Wildlife had completely fallen apart, I did the NFT and crypto episode, which ended up being 20 minutes. There was like an 8-page script to it, and even though we've had longer videos since then, the second Wizards of the Coast video is almost 40 minutes long. The NFT and crypto episode, like, I just flew through it, but it still ended up being about 20 minutes long. And the Honest series, like, I like the idea of keeping them long form in sort of a YouTube video essay format, but with very, like, tongue-in-cheek jokes jokes thrown throughout. There we go. If you can't tell, this is not scripted. And I like doing that, but the problem is that editing takes so long to do, because first I have to actually come up with a concept and idea. So, like, I've had an idea to do a Sony follow-up, but I kind of wanted to split it into 2 episodes. It was like Sony Entertainment and Sony Video Games, because there's a lot to cover on both of those. And I kind of want to be able to touch upon the history of things, so that a lot of these have a bit more evergreen feel to it. Because as great as that original Electronic Arts video was, it was hilarious. It also, a lot of the stuff was very much timely in 2013. Looking back on it now, it's funny, but it's not as relevant to, what it is now. And so I want to be able to cover the history of things. I want to be able to cover current jokes, but also just talk about where the company is at this very point in the Honest series style. And obviously, being comedic and silly and funny is the ultimate goal of the Honest series, but it just takes a long time to research. It takes a long time to write. I can film it in an afternoon or two, but I only really get like 1, maybe 2 days off a week, because I have a full-time job, because that's just what you have to do in the modern day era of what we live in. And I wanted to spend a lot of time to do a lot of editing, because the editing involves, I have to trim everything down and make sure that it has good pacing to it, but then I have to add in a bunch of graphics. It is just a long process to get the Honest series out. And I would love to do this every month. I would love to do it every few weeks. I think if I did it more often than that, I would get burned out once again. But the biggest issue is just, I have a full-time job, I have a wife, I have other things that I do with my life. As much as I would love to do YouTube full-time, I just don't have the resources to quit my day job, nor do I have the resources to pay an editor on a regular basis. Because if I were to get other people to do the editing, which I would like to do, I want to make sure that they get paid. I don't want to have someone who's just a volunteer and be like, oh, I'll help you do editing. It's like, great. I don't want you to... I want your time to be compensated decently. I don't want to just be like, oh, this was edited by this person, and I didn't pay them, because I don't have the resources to pay someone like that. A big thing that I'm going to be doing this year with the Geeks Welcome Talks, and Geeks Welcome Plays, the 3 channels, is that I want to get an editor on a regular basis. I want to find a amount of money that is fair to compensate them, and I want to alleviate a lot of the stress of me doing editing, because I will spend months on end not working on a project, because I know for a fact that it's going to take like 20, 30 hours to edit a whole thing. I remember the last episode I did for Gaming Wildlife was the Electronic Arts in 2017. I think that was the last video, because they released a couple other Honest videos after that, and they were bad, straight up. I had nothing to do with those. But when I did that one, it was mostly on my own, with some help from Jim, who has just been the greatest friend I could ever ask for. Jim is an amazing person. I love working with him. I just remember that filming that took about an afternoon. Editing that took 14 hours. Literally, I took an entire afternoon to just be like, I'm going to work on this. And it took me about that long. But this was also when I was still being compensated for the work that I was doing for Gaming Wildlife. I wasn't making a lot, but I was making something. And so, with Geeks Welcome, although we've been able to monetize the channel, I can tell you all this, I've only made about $100 off of the channel because everything else, just we don't do enough to generate income. And obviously, I want to do this because I like doing this. But if I'm going to put this much time into something, I do want to eventually get something back, but also just like making myself be more productive on a regular basis. This is why I'm doing this vlog series, to get myself into some sort of a productive mindset, to be able to keep doing videos and to just, I don't know, get back into the swing of things. 2024 was a weirdly difficult year for me from a mental health standpoint, but I'm in a much better headspace now and doing a lot better in general. And so getting new videos out is going to be something that I do for this channel. But to continue the Honest series, I desperately need someone who's a decent editor. Otherwise, it's just me. It's not something that just comes naturally. It's just like the whole, like, you need help to be able to do something like this. And so this is why I'm putting the Honest series on hiatus temporarily. I suspect probably around June or so, I'll probably either have figured out some kind of routine that works for me or found someone who can help me do editing on a regular basis. And I am going to compensate them for it because they should be compensated. Someone who's just like, oh, yes, I will help you do editing, volunteer work. It's like, I appreciate that, but I want you to get paid. You should get paid for this because editing is a lot of work. I have been doing it for almost 20 years. Started doing it back in high school, and it is a lot of tedious work to get editing done. But that's always been the problem for me, is just like any amount of tedious work and my brain goes, oh, I can't handle this. It's too much. But yeah, this is why the Honest series is currently being put on hiatus, just to sort of, sorry, I hit my microphone there. It just to sort of get things settled as I'm sort of bouncing back from 2024 being a weird year for a lot of reasons, for very personal reasons, but also being a weird year for other reasons that I don't necessarily need to get into. I don't know why I've got a stylus here. I just do. It helps me think. But yeah, in general, you will see the Honest series come back probably sometime around June, but in the meantime, I've got some video blogs, stuff to talk about. My friend Sean and I are going to be recording a few videos this next weekend, and I'm going to talk about my history on YouTube. Like I said before, I've been here since the beginning, since my very first YouTube channel I made in March of 2006. And we're going to talk about that, as well as just other things that we've been doing. So, this being the first official video on Geeks Welcome Talks, thank you all for joining me. If there are things that you're interested in me talking about, because I've been in the film industry, I didn't do a lot, but I've done some stuff in the film industry. I've had a lot of experience with video game culture and the video game industry. I've had experience with just content creation here on YouTube. If there's things you're interested in hearing about, let me know, and they'll probably be picked for topics in future episodes. I know I've got a couple of ideas for videos coming up, one of which I think will be announced this next week. We'll see. But, yeah, just stick around here on Geeks Welcome Talks, and I will see you all in the next video. You take care of yourselves out there.